What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Dadgood Community Podcast. Tonight, we're keeping it in-house, baby. We're bringing it back to the core. We got my man CT in the house, my guy WD in the house, and none other than our boy Matt Campbell in the house. Our guy G, if you will. He's still focusing on the big move, and so we're sending him all of our love and support. But tonight, I got the chief team, and dude, we're gonna dive into a little bit of like hot topic Dadgood life. We ran a survey in the Slack earlier tonight. We got a couple of like heavy hitter questions on just some things that we could ideate about of different experiences in fatherhood. And so with that being said, before we jump super deep into the weeds, what's up, my guys? How y'all doing tonight? How we living?
What's up, fellas?
Good. How are y'all?
Let's go.
Awesome.
Hey, man, if I was any better, Warren, I'd be you. Come on.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to come with more enthusiasm like you do, Chris. I'm trying
You
to,
got to bring the heat,
sorry.
Come on. I
I
know.
know, man. I know.
There's no guest to put on for. So, but I mean, that doesn't, you know what I mean? Matt actually posted something earlier in the week. He said that even if your C average, like come in with 100%, or I mean, it wasn't quite that. It was more of a very valuable like sales post. I know you guys saw it. Matt, why don't you talk to us about that post that you posted earlier real quick?
Yeah, it was basically with like, if you have all you have that day is your C stuff, bring 100% of it. Because each day we don't have 100% to give. Some days we're at, 65%. Some days we're even at 50%. But if that's all you have, empty the tank.
Yeah. Empty the tank, man. Dude.
That's what I said on my comment. Let's go.
Yes, go. No,
that's what I said, baby.
I'm such a clown with my comments. I posted something like, yo, bro, I was a C student and I still graduated. And he's like, yo, that's what I'm talking about, baby. C is a passing grade. Like, let's get it.
The comment dynamics are always funny because, yeah, it's like you do see people who, they just have more fun with it, and then other people come in with like a more, like try to have a more, I guess, like serious tone. I feel like that's me most of the time, but I always love the comments that are funny. Like Charles always leaves like funny comments. Guy, of course, leaves
He's a
just like some pretty outlandish comments sometimes too. Even more so in our text thread, but we won't get into that right now. But anyways, yeah, no, that was a great post. I love that.
Bro, for anybody who's on LinkedIn, and look, like this is not a LinkedIn pod, but just off of that, dude, if you're complaining about the algo and you're not showing the same type of love to your entire network, like, look, dude, is it hard? Does it take time? Do you have to really be like thought-provoking, even if you're being silly? Hell yeah, you do. But if you're giving what you're expecting in return, bro, that's the magic, man. So yeah, dude.
I think that, and really quick, like if you're complaining about that and you're not showing up like every day, what I would ask you is, even if the algo was perfect in your favor, are you going to be here every day showing up?
Right.
Because like I don't see you. So like you're complaining about it, but I don't even see you half the time anyway. So that tells me, even if conditions were perfect, would you still be here showing up, or would you find
that's
some
like,
other
dude,
excuse?
that's the motivator, is that like you can gosh, I sound like I'm talking to my sales team. You can tangibly see the correlation between your efforts and the results. And if you're putting in the efforts on the timeline, the results will show, right? But I mean, it's true, dude.
Yeah, man. I mean, show up, dude. It's like being a dad. You don't have a choice.
Show up, dude.
Show up, dude. Get up and show up.
The real magic occurs in this Slack. We've got over 3,000 dads in there just really stepping up and doing what they need to do to support each other. Everybody's hooking each other up with advice. People who are job searching are getting hooked up like in a minute with it. It really is a magical community. So with that being said, my boy Guy, who's not here, sent out a quick survey to the group on some hot like fatherhood topics. And so the very first one that I want to jump into is our boy community member Busy B asked, Let's hear about some birth stories, man. Like, what was the experience like with the very first one? And obviously, if you have multiple children, which we all do, what was that second one or all the way up to five, my boy, hashtag CT? Like,
Yeah.
what can you tell me about the differences of experiences and surely kind of just locking into that first one? So, shoot, dude, how about let's start with my boy CT? Because I know he got a whole river of what that was like for him, man. What was that? What was the first one like? We'll start there, dude.
Yeah, so as my boy said, I got 5 kiddos, so we got a lot to talk about. But the first one, I remember I'm at home, my wife is with a couple friends at Applebee's, water breaks. But if you know about water breaking, you may not be able to tell on your first one. You're like, yo, am I peeing? Like, what's happening right now? So she's like, what's happening? She's with some older ladies, and they're like, yeah, your water's breaking. So I'm like, so she calls me first. We meet at the hospital. And side note, we're at the most expensive hospital in San Diego, Mary Birch. Maddie, you might know. No reason for us to go there, but it's your first kid, so you think you need to be at the best hospital in the entire world. Not true, but we think so. So we go to this really nice hospital there, and I don't know if you guys know what Lama's like breathing treatment training is, but essentially like all it is like you breathe to slow down your wife's breathing because when the contractions are happening, it's very painful. And so we got kind of coached by her parents to do that. I kid you not, like I'm trying to do that to my wife, and she's like, "Yo, get your breath out of my face. I don't want that right now."
This is
Because I'm
not
trying
it,
to,
bro.
I'm like nose to nose, like trying to like calm her down. And she's like, "No, I have no desire to do that." Now, I kind of skipped upon it, but I think there's a drug called Pitocin that you have to take once your water breaks. I think there's a certain amount of time
Yeah,
that you
yeah. The
need to have
clock
the
is ticking
baby.
before it gets dangerous. Yeah.
So she had to take that. But what some ladies don't like, she has learned in later pregnancies, is that it can make the pain much worse because it's unnatural. You're unnaturally having the baby. Different side note kind of topic, but long story short, the contractions were worse than they could have been. So I'm like all like face to face, like trying to help her. And then like she eventually was like, yo, like any movie or show you've seen, she's like, get out of my face. And I'm like, yo, like this is real. So I'm just kind of trying to sit somewhat close to her, but not that close because she told me,
Right.
give me some space, bro. And trying to like comfort her through the process, which like it's a pretty defeating like scenario because you can't really help, but you can't be like, yo, like you're good, like go handle it yourself. So
Yeah.
you're in this weird kind of like conundrum where if you are disinterested, you're in trouble. But if you're too interested, at least in my scenario,
Yeah.
it's
No,
like,
I
yo,
think maybe
like
in
back
all of
up.
our scenarios.
It's like back up. So long story short, that was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The Pitocin finally kind of subsides. She starts to get ready to uh, the contractions start to calm down. She makes it to the night where she can sleep. Backstory, I forgot to say, like she had the epidural. So my wife was like, "Yo, I don't want to feel anymore.
Yeah.
Like, give me the epidural.
Bring it
Like,
in for
put that thing
sure.
up." So she had the epidural. She had to sleep through the night, and we woke up like 6 o'clock. 20 minutes of pushing, baby's here. I will say, I'll stop here. I could not look down there, like the blood. I was like, bro, I'm about to pass out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not about that life. Like, they're like, hey, do you want to cut? Like, bro, I don't want anything down there. Like, it is like horror
Bro, it's
scene,
surgery,
Jason, Friday
man.
13.
It's
It is
and
wild.
dude, it's your first time and they got the bright lights from the top and everybody's wearing the fancy outfits and you're just bro, it's very next world. So I don't blame you
Bro,
at all, dude,
bro.
especially for your
And
first
then
rodeo.
they're pulling
Yeah,
bro
it's like
out,
being in
like,
Grey's Anatomy, dude.
Yeah, dude, exactly it is.
bro, they're pulling bro's head out. I'm like, yo, like what's happening right now?
Yeah.
Looks like you're not even supposed to do that. Like, I'm just concerned for everyone involved. So long story short, we made it.
That's
And
wow.
here we are.
One thing I do want to ask you, CT, and then we'll move over to WD is because I will remember for the rest of my days like it was yesterday, the very first time I held my first kid, like, and dude, like they don't give you an instruction manual. I was surprised. I was the first person, the nurse was like, hey man, take this because we got to go help mom. You're like, bro, are you sure? Like me of all people in here, you thought that I was the one
Well,
who should hold this thing? And it just messed me up so hard. So like your first kid, doctor hands it over to you, or maybe you get it from your wife on the bed. Like, what is that like, bro?
yeah. Yeah, doctor did not trust me with the same amount of trust that they gave you.
Okay.
Mommy definitely
It
had her
was one of the
had
top
her had
hospitals
her
in the world, mind you. So they
yeah.
may have had
But he understood. He understood what happened. Mommy had but it was crazy. I will tell you, context wise, like I was a second youngest of five, another big family. So I've been changing diapers literally since I'm like 10.
yeah.
I've been holding babies. Like I've been around kids for a long time. My oldest brother's like 9 years older than me. Um, So I've always been around kids. So that part of like knowing it was never like rough for me. I've always been comfortable around babies. But the craziness of like holding like this little mom of
Just like
7,000
your own,
ounces,
bro. Your own.
like bro, like I remember all the stats. I remember everything about it. Like 19 inches. Like I remember everything. Like so to me, like I'll always treasure that moment. I will say before I let W get in, like, but the to me what's more memorable was my second kid bringing her home to my oldest son coming to see
Dope.
her. That moment when he got to hold little sister was bananas. Like
That's so
holding my
sick.
first was good, but to me, like my girl, like opened up my heart in ways that my son, I don't know if that was like I didn't have those depths there yet, but my daughter, like she opened up those like my heart in like spots I couldn't like imagine. And
Bro.
so when he
Yeah.
first held her, it was crazy.
That's
So I'll
so
stop there.
magic, dude. And that's something I kind of want to get into further on. But WD, let's move to you. So, no instruction manual. The missus goes, hey, bro, time to go. First of all, do you have a go bag packed? Like, are you guys ready to rock and roll? Like, what? Let's hear the story, man.
Don't have a go bag packed. I was getting a to go bag at Panda Express, believe it or not. So I was getting food at Panda Express just because I just go through I just go through phases of really wanting Panda Express. And so I was yeah, it was the day after Halloween. My first daughter's birthday is November 1st. Yeah, it was November 1st. I was getting Panda Express. It was in the evening time. And I mean, we knew it was coming soon, but you don't ever know
Nah.
exactly when it's gonna happen. And so I'm getting the food and she just calls and I'm just like, wow, okay, like I need to rush home. So I eat that meal in the car driving, which I wouldn't recommend, but it had to be done. And so, and luckily for us, my wife is really good friends with a delivery nurse, a labor and delivery
All
nurse.
right.
She had already had like a bunch of tips and tricks and stuff like that. And it was already a really weird year because it was 2020. So COVID happening,
Dang.
November 1st, 2020. So like, leading up to that, we were living uh with my in-laws, like waiting for our house to be finished, like being built. And it was just madness that whole year, COVID, everyone, no one will ever forget that. But so we get to the hospital, and because my wife had had so much coaching from, a girl who had delivered a bunch of babies to this point, I feel like she was as prepared as she could be. You're never fully prepared, obviously, for something like that, but she was, she had a lot of ammo, I would say, going into
Yeah.
that. And so we got there, and I don't think it took very long, to be honest, because that's the other thing. The girl, she happened to be off, the nurse, she was off that night. So she actually came over to Chloe's parents' house. And before we even went in, she was there kind of like, hey, you don't probably need to go in yet. Cause I think that's something that a lot of, which I don't blame you by any means, especially it's your first time. the water breaks, whatever, like, or, you start to feel the contractions and you just immediately go.
Yeah.
But what me and Chloe have learned over the years and having 3 kids is that, some people will go and, you hear people like, yeah, I was in the hospital for like 48 hours, like until I actually had, which is fine. Again, like that's, you figure that out, and why not just be at the hospital? Like, better safe than sorry. But with the nurse there, she was kind of like, this is gonna go a while with like your contractions. Once they get closer together, then
Yeah.
you kind of, and I think Chloe just wanted to be in the comfort of like her parents' home instead of, like you
No,
guys were
for sure.
mentioning,
Being in that
the
Grey's
the the
Anatomy
room with the
hospital. Yeah.
lights. Yeah, Grey's Anatomy. Even though a funny story, my daughter's name is Frankie Gray, and Gray comes from Grey's
No
Anatomy because my wife
way,
is
bro.
absolutely obsessed with that show. So, anyways, but yeah, so we finally go. Her friend finally looks at her like, "Hey, I think now is the time to go." So we went, and like I said, we got there probably around like 9, 10 o'clock at night, and my daughter was born like an 11:52, like 8
Dang,
minutes before
man.
midnight. So it was like very,
My
you
wife would
know,
hate
um,
that story, bro.
Yeah, so but I mean again, we were fortunate to have like I would say the girl just there who's delivered all those babies, who's
Yeah.
just like, hey, this is what I see every day. You probably don't need to go yet. Obviously, you can if you want to. So that was the first one, and then over, the second and third, I feel like my wife has just got it like dialed like so good. The only other thing I would say is once my first daughter was born, and I do it with all of them, is they like take the baby out once they get them, and they usually let you hold it, but then they'll take it over to the other little
Yeah,
station
to
to
go and
like
like
check on the
clean it up
baby.
and yeah.
Yeah, and I always like run over there, and I'm just like, counting the toes and the
Yeah,
fingers, and
do
I'm
it,
just
do.
like, and for my first daughter, because I don't know, I'm just like looking at the nurse. She's just looking at me, and I'm just like, kind of like, this with my hand. She's just like, what? And I was just like, well, is she, what, like, is everything
You
good?
got
Like,
it?
what,
Yeah,
what are
like
we,
you
what are we
supposed to
looking
give
at?
me a
Like
quick
everything, everything looking like good, like just anything that I need to, because you see these people and you're like, you do this 1,000 times over your career. So like, let me know. Yeah,
yeah.
like you said, Chris, give me like some sort of,
It's
and of
give
course
me
you did. We,
anything,
we had a
dude.
nice little, yeah, we had a nice laugh about it. But yeah, I mean, obviously a moment that you never forget. So
Never. That's so funny you mentioned the fingers and toes, bro. I remember counting it over and over because they're so tiny. You can never even imagine how tiny and so you count it, but yo, 5 little toes squished together, you're like, it could be 6. It looks like 6. Let me just count it again real quick.
right, which if that was the case, totally
No,
fine. But
totally
I
cool,
think
but
that
it's
was just
like,
a natural reaction,
I
just
just
to
want
be
to know.
like, did everything like come out like all good? So, anyways, yeah. So what a blessing.
That's awesome, man. I love that, dude.
Yeah,
Well, it
man.
sounds like Chloe's an absolute champ. My wife, it was not the same experience, but you did make me think of a question that I want to ask after we get to my boy MC and our cousin Cash. What was that experience like for you, bro?
Yeah, my son was born in 2021 in October. So similar COVID experience in Southern California, which had pretty strict regulations in the hospital.
Super.
So I had to wear a mask at all times, couldn't have family check in. I couldn't have food brought in. I had, it was very strict. But my wife had just a normal like baby well check at her OBG appointment. And then she had elevated like blood pressure. So she went to the hospital just to check vitals and everything. And then Cash's heart rate dropped, which was kind of scary. So they were like, okay, we need to get things moving just to make sure everyone's healthy. Yeah, it was like coming down the wire between natural birth and then C-section because of the duration of the contractions and everything going. But he came natural, which was cool. And the only issue, I think he was just jaundice, very jaundice. So
Yeah.
he hospital for like 4 or 5 days.
And they put him under
like,
that light, like the neon
under
light
lights,
thing. Yeah.
everything. He had the goggles and it was like kind of sad, like he
No,
was,
Yeah, of
and it's,
course.
my
and it's,
oldest did that. I feel you.
yeah. And nothing's wrong because I was jaundice as a baby. Like my mom told me all the
Same.
stories prepare for everything. And, if that were to happen, and we knew he was fine. It was just a little scary at one point, but no, everything was pretty good. Other than like the heart rate drop, that was pretty sketchy. But yeah, I think it was I mean, from my experience, right? From my wife's experience, definitely different,
Yeah.
right? But I'm not a very serious guy. I think you guys all know that. So like during contractions and everything, I would play like It's the Climb by Miley Cyrus, and she would just absolutely hate that. She would laugh, but she's like, not right now, especially as the contractions got deeper and heavier.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's
So I try to keep
funny, dude.
a fault.
That's so funny. Bro. Yeah, I was trying to almost like similar to CT's experience. I was trying to crack some jokes early in the game. You know me, fun. Come on, let's keep it lighthearted. That was not the strategy. If that was my ICP, nope. You ain't booking that meeting, baby. So, but dude, here's what I wanted to ask you guys, because outside of like, oh my gosh, I'm in love with my kid, this thing's brand new. Bro, the bed that I had to sleep on since we were there for so long was just rubbish.
There's no
And
bed.
so, yeah,
There's like
there is no
that's like
bed.
that's
There's no
like
bed.
that's that green couch you
Yeah,
mean, or that
dude.
green armchair.
It's like you get like this much space. They're like, okay, dad, so you just rest here for the night. Like, talk to me about what baby's healthy, everybody's happy, people have already come by, but you're still there for like another, 35 hours just to make sure. Talk to
Mhm.
me about that pocket of time, because so happy to see my kid. This is the best day of my life. But dude, if I have to spend 10 more hours on that couch,
You
bro, I'm bailing both of us out of here. Let's go. What did that look like?
I fell asleep. I finally fell asleep, and I was so asleep because I was so tired. I was so tired. It sounds so terrible. Like I was so tired. Like my
It
wife's
was
like,
really, it
but
was
like
really hard
whatever.
on
When
you,
I
huh?
finally, when I when I finally fell asleep, like because I don't hear very well. I just was born with like bad hearing. So like obviously, if I'm sleeping and I'm sleeping really good,
Yeah,
like you
you
like really
made
got to
it.
wake me up. And Chloe can't get out. She ain't getting out of bed like anytime soon. So like, the poor girl is just like, throwing stuff at me. And I think she finally hit me with something. And I like woke up and I was like, whoa, what's going on? And she's just like, wake up. And I was just like, oh, man, I'm so sorry. Like, so
I
that
didn't
was
even.
my
Well, no, because like,
like,
dude, you gotta help them to like the restroom and stuff. Like, there's certain dad
right.
duties to help mom, and yeah,
Yeah,
I had
but
that same
I had finally
experience.
fallen asleep, and I feel like where most people would probably, wake up like a normal person who can hear
Yeah,
normally would just wake up from a voice, but not me, dude. You got to
I
throw
could
something at
picture
my head to wake me
Chloe
up.
just
So
reaching for anything she could find. Like, yeah,
yeah, and there was like a lot of stuff. There's always a lot of stuff around because they have
yeah,
those, they have all those tables that
Yeah.
slide over. So there was a plethora of just items that she could
that's
just
so
like
funny,
chuck at me.
bro.
So yes.
That's so funny.
I had the same experience. My wife was throwing stuff at me, pillows, whatever she could find. That when I sleep, it's a deep sleep.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
no, you
And
got to get there.
now that when you have kids, you know that you can't go that deep of a sleep,
And
right?
that, dude,
No.
that hospital deep sleep may have been the last one that we've ever had
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, but pre-kids slept, right? But especially on those beds. I don't know. I'm 6'6", so I don't fit on beds regardless, let alone
Bro,
that.
Yeah, your
six
legs were
six.
hanging like your
Yeah.
legs were just hanging off
Did
that
you
thing,
guys
dude.
know that?
I knew he was tall because somebody
I did not know
made
that.
like such a funny comment. It was probably Rob, but like that post that you did that went viral
Yeah.
where you were hitting golf balls with Stella and Cash, and like Rob's like, that is a Rob, it just makes weird. That is a huge human right there, or
Yeah.
something like super weird. Which even like when I read Rob's comment, I was like, yeah, I mean, he definitely got a point there.
But
But
in
I was just like,
comparison to the
Rob, you make such a
kids, I would have,
weird
bro.
comment.
I didn't know you were a friggin' alien walking around.
But to
Six,
answer your question, Chris, I didn't know quite that tall. I knew it was like, 6'3"
bro. I
or
thought
six
he was
four, but apparently I'm
5'11".
still
Like, that's normal.
no,
Just put on some
no,
Vans and hang out with us, dude. What the heck?
that's that's like the rest of us,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Okay, well, shit.
Yeah, it's
I didn't mean to
6'6".
sidetrack us, but my boy hit us so casually, like, because I'm 6'6" in the hospital bed. Like, what The heck, dude? Okay. Dang. Hey, good for you, Maddie. No judgment here, man. Let us know how it is up there.
Bro,
CT,
like
how was your
honestly,
bed?
so again, very good hospital.
That's
It was a
right.
very
That's right.
comfortable.
Very
It,
good.
it was it was a very comfortable bed. We had full streaming services. My wife was feeling good. We were like, "Yo, let's do another night." Genuinely, this is what we thought in our head. We had nowhere else to go.
Bro, I
We had a
never been
small little
more
studio.
frustrated with a response to a question in all my days of podcasting. You
It
guys,
Bro,
sounds like he's at
bro,
the Four Seasons,
dude, no
dude. I
wonder
mean,
bro,
you had
literally,
5 of them.
it
I would
felt
have been like, load it up, honey. Let's go, babe.
bro, it felt like a Marriott. Again, we haven't been married that long. We're in the studio. We have a lot of money in California, so that might have been better than
Yo,
our spot.
that helps.
It might have been better. But I'll tell you this: we had the weakest insurance in the game, bronze. So our baby was like, he had like 6 or 7 G's, like
Yeah,
easy, because we spent the extra night,
I know
which
that.
we shouldn't have done. But we didn't really know, like, because they kind of said like, hey, you can stay another night, or you can kind of try to bounce, and we were like, I guess we're good, we're comfortable here. So we stayed another night, like 7 G's, and then I'm a cheap person, so I pay in installments because it was more than my deductible, or it didn't quite meet my deductible. So I'm paying like, I don't know, like $100 a month. I
Dang.
don't get done paying for my number one until I have number two. Like genuinely,
But dude, they
like
had
I'm paying like
HBO on the TV, so it seems worth it. I mean,
$100. Bro,
Entourage, the
if you're
final
he was
season was
watching
probably
great.
coming
He was
out
watching
around then.
Grey's
Like,
if you're
Anatomy, dude.
listening, do not do what I did. Like, so after that, we tried to get out like a Dodge as soon as possible. But I was like back in the days where my insurance was so trash, I didn't really understand, like, oh, like maybe you're healthy, but if you have a baby, that might cost you, like, if you don't meet your deductible, you're in trouble.
yeah, oh, for
Like,
sure.
and most hospitals. So
Yeah,
that's something
always
you keep
ask
in
if
mind.
insurance covers it.
Bro, I don't know if
I have
I'm
no idea.
still paying off my last kid, but dude, like giving birth in the US is so expensive. And then you hear these stories about how it is in like the UK or Germany or across the European Union. You're like, what do you mean $750? I couldn't even get a ham sandwich delivered to the room for $750. Are you kidding me? Like,
Yeah,
Well,
my
that's
the
for
cra-
God.
that itemized deduction too, because
Yeah.
they'll charge like for tissues. I'm like, bro, I'm crying because the baby's born, not because I'm sad.
Yeah,
I
dude.
don't need $100. I just wanted one tissue.
Yeah, bro. It's not like so wild, dude. But that's hilarious, TT.
well,
I
the,
vibe with that so hard.
well, the crazy part too, real quick, on a cost, like I tried to call for second baby and asked, like, hey, how much is it? It's it's hard. A hospital does not give that information
No,
easily.
because they
So
want you to have
asking
that
like, hey,
baby there.
right, like, so does my insurance cover it? I don't know. How much is it? It depends. So I'm like, yo, like, how do I even prepare to, like, for the cost? And again, I'm very early in the game of finances, like
Yeah.
medical insurance, job responsibilities. I feel you if you're in that part now, fellas. Reach out to one of us dads. We've done it a couple different times.
No, for
Make sure you don't
sure.
get got out there.
I can just imagine the nurse practitioner on the phone with CT, like, I know, sir, I know, but look, we have HBO. It's streaming. Like, don't worry about the cost. Like, it's all about the customer experience. So
We have pedicures at your beck and call.
that's what I mean, dude.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. All right, man. Let's throw some love to another community member, our guy Rob Unger. He wanted to point out that obviously after you have your first kid and so on and so forth, the dynamics change, but let's get into a little bit about like how robustly the dynamics change when you bring that first kid home. Again, no instruction manual, like, and you can only be so prepared, right? You can only prepare so much for something you have no idea about. But now you got this living, breathing, eating, pooping, crying thing in your house, and it just won't go to sleep, or maybe it only sleeps. Like, talk to me. Let's go around and talk about like the dynamics of that husband to wife relationship, particularly in the first month. MC, let's throw it back to you, man. What was that like with Cash and the miss?
Yeah, I think this probably happens to everybody, but in that first month, it's just like with your first one particular, it's just survival,
Yeah.
right? You're just trying to figure out what that day looks like. And for us, we didn't really try to have a schedule until Cash was probably 3 or 4 months old because things changed so drastically. So we just stayed within like wake windows. So as long as we knew he ate, he was up for another hour and a half. It was time for him to take a nap and eat some more. And then just fitting our days and chores and our work weeks around those windows because we had him home for a while. So it was more so intertwining our lives with Cash's schedule at first, and
Yeah.
then when he was 3 to 4 months, we tried to really like not adapt our life to the baby, to Cash, but more so have him adapt to our life. And I really think that helped us as parents and husband and wife and just individuals
Mhm.
because we got to still be ourselves and not wrap our whole round or our world around him, which he is our world, don't get me wrong,
No, but you
but
need to have some normalcy so that you can remain. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So it was a difficult change, more so just because it was something new. It was a challenge that we both have never experienced before. And I think me and my wife are definitely creatures of habits. So like if we like our routines, we like our schedules, and if something's off, something's a little weird, right? And when
Yeah.
they're a month old, it's always going to be off.
Yeah.
So it's just like trying to find a new normalcy. And it comes eventually, but the first month with Cash was a little bit different just because we never experienced before.
Yeah. Dude, couple things I want to dive into there, and I want to hear feedback from the other dudes as well. Is so like, bro, I felt pretty useless the first month. I don't know if anybody else, like, look, I'll get up if the kid's crying at nighttime, like I want to be involved, but especially like my wife was breastfeeding. I'm sure your guys' wives were breastfeeding. And so it's like very clear this child wants nothing to do with. I know the kid loves me, skin on skin. This is dope, but it's very clear, like, honey, I could wake up at 3 in the morning with you, but I'm legit useless right now. Like, this little thing wants nothing to do with me. Did you guys, because I found myself just like waking up just to be supportive, right? Because like,
Yeah.
there's only so much I could do. Like, put the baby on you. Let's get it going. I'll be here for support. Did you guys experience that as well? Or were your kids like, the first month, right?
My my
Go ahead, Warren.
my first daughter was colic, so it was very, it was just intense. Like
Yeah.
it was like, she, the witching hours or whatever they call it, and it was hectic. Like looking back now, I mean, it seems like a lifetime ago. She's turning 5, November 1st.
Crazy.
But anyways, she was colic, and so that was just really hard. I mean, just like crying, like, all the time. So it was a lot of, and, Chloe's obviously trying to rest and going through so many changes with her like
Yeah.
hormones. And, that's something that as a dad, you learn all about as you start to have like children and stuff. And like, you go through a lot of changes too. But yeah, she was colic. And so I was like walking around with her all the time on my shoulder, like just trying to do just about anything I could to try to, like comfort her if she wasn't, like you mentioned, Chris, like eating or whatever. But yeah, for months on in there for a while, she would just, cry. And then even at night, we would like play music in our bedroom and I would just be like walking like
Yeah,
all over our
same.
bedroom, kind of like dim the lights down. And, yeah, man, that was just like such an emotional time for me and my wife. Like, dude, I remember like a lot of nights, like just, like crying and not even really in a bad way, just like trying to,
Dude, because you're just
you
friggin'
just realize
helpless,
how,
man.
yeah, well, you just realize how, challenging it can be. But, all the greatest things really are, the most challenging. Not supposed to be an easy thing by any means. But I just remember it was just a lot of life events for me and my wife at one time. We had just, it was 2020. We had just like moved into our first home. I think I had just switched jobs at the time, just became a new dad. I had just gotten married in that January.
Yeah.
Because like me and my wife, once we got married, we had a plan. Like we weren't messing around. And I'm always practicing, is what I say.
Yeah,
So
let's
I was
go.
ready.
Let's
But
go.
anyways,
Good on you.
so so it was so many life events, like depending on your situation, sometimes those are spread out. I got married, a year and a half later, we had our first baby, and then I got my first house, like, but it was literally like, baby born, moving to a new house, starting a new job, all within probably like a month of each other. I became a dad, and
Crazy.
so I was just like it's so overwhelming. Like I remember one night specifically, whatever happened, we were both just like, dude, we were both just crying, man. And like we got in the car with the baby, and I think we drove to like Mellow Mushrooms. And like that was like actually one of our like best memories ever, because we were like crying in the car on the way to Mellow
Yeah.
Mushrooms, and we got like pizza and we ate, and it was like a really great time. And now we look back on that, and it's actually a fun memory now. But yeah, that first month was hard, and each kid comes with their own
No, for
challenges. I
sure.
didn't have any more colic babies after my first one. My second daughter and my third daughter are both like relatively like, super chill.
Yeah, my second was super chill. It almost made my wife go like, "Hey, should we go for 3?" But we're like, "No, no, we're good, we're good. Let's cash it in while we
Yeah.
got it, baby."
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta leave the poker table when you're up, you know what I mean? So, we cashed out. What about you, CT? How was the first month, man? What was your role in the first month?
Bro, I'm pretty similar to you where my wife breastfed, so I really felt like there was not much I can do. And I also was in a job where Pat Lee was not on the table. Like I've had Pat Lee for the first time on my fifth kid. I know Pat Lee in
Wow.
any of those situations. So we always
What a
kind of like, yo,
savage.
like she's gonna get up at night, I'm gonna work in the day. That was like our
Yeah,
so I probably took a week ish on most of those kids, like every time, but prior to fifth, never had one. That was a situation. We had very mild mannered kids. I remember, like my first kid, I remember our 1 year anniversary because we we had a 1 year anniversary probably 2 months. Some of them were in July, and that's the next month. August is our anniversary. We took him to our 1 year anniversary because we had no babysitters that can go get him, and we went to Fogo de Chao. And bro sat there, like it must have been like a month right after that. Literally, he just sat there at Fogo de Chao eating like Brazilian steak, chilling, like no problem at all. So he was a super easy kid in general. Like I remember, we would just our situation. Our first kid was like, whenever he slept, we slept. That was it. Like, so if
dang.
bro's sleeping at like 1 p.m., guess what? Like, we might be sleeping at 1 p.m. It was just like whenever I took time off, like that was what I did. That's what she did. We just said our schedule was like whenever he's trying to get in, we're gonna get in too. Because for my kids, especially early on, their time like they didn't know like day or night, so they would
Yeah,
kind of sleep sometimes all day and then be up all night.
Yeah.
And it took a while for my kids to realize, oh, like I need to sleep at
yeah,
nighttime.
get with that.
So
What's it
that's
called? The
kind of
circadian rhythm of the sleep pattern?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
But we could do that because we had nothing else to really give to, and we had any other responsibilities as far as like other people to take care of. And I had like a little like job I was in a nonprofit space working with high school kids. So I kind of like ran with that kind of deal, and it was crazy like that. But Pat Lee wasn't encouraging me. So
Dang.
she threw down at nighttime and she breastfed. So again, like I could rub her back and kind of be like, yo, like you good, like you need me to change the diaper, like go, tag me in occasionally. But really she was throwing down at night and I was still working in the morning. And again, like that's what
That's
9 years. My
rough,
son, my oldest
bro.
son's 9. So
Yeah,
here we
man.
are.
Dang, dude, for MC or WD, was there any like Pat Matt leave available to you? I mean, maternity, I don't know, like it's got to be like a federal law at this point for US employment labor. But did you guys get a Pat leave or what did that look like?
I was working at, man, Dang, brought up some memories. I was working for a company called Cabbage, a startup in Atlanta. And when COVID happened, they did like funding for small businesses. Small
Go
businesses,
figure.
COVID, not a good mix. So when that happened, Cabbage was pumping before COVID. I mean, that thing would have went to like the stratosphere if COVID would have never happened. But COVID happened, small businesses shut down. Cabbage, I'm sure leadership and the two founders who started it are just like, oh, man. And like American Express comes in talking about acquiring. And so American Express acquired Cabbage and a bunch of
Dang.
us stayed on. A bunch of us stayed on, and I planned on staying on. And I mean, you guys can imagine American Express has a nice
Yeah.
paternity leave,
Well, I'm sure.
but also when your company gets acquired from a monster like American Express, we know it's not going to stay the same as it was like the startup. They come in, they dissect, they subtract, they lower.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking
We
about? You
got
know where
our
I'm
own
going?
guys.
And so, right. And so, like, just a bunch of things changed, salary changed. And my wife and I like looked at it and it was like, yeah, I could stay and like take the paternity leave, but the pay is going to be like way less. So we made the decision. I think I still was able to get like a month, which is great. That's like a lot more,
For
like
sure.
Charles
Anything
was saying,
helps,
than like a
bro.
lot of, yeah, like a lot of people get. But I made the decision to like go and, find another job. And that was in that time when, I just had a kid. I was like going and starting a new job, new house,
Yeah.
new dad,
Just
new
got
husband.
married.
And I
Bro,
was just like,
you had
yeah, I
balls
was
in
just
the
like,
air
dude,
in
like,
every direction.
yeah, that's why I was just like, dude, this is nuts right now. But so long story short, they have like a 6 month paternity leave that I never
You
got to
weren't
take,
able
which
to
would have
milk
been
that
like
tree.
honestly would have been absolutely amazing. Like almost to the point where it's so long where you're just like, wait a second, like, 6 months is up and you're
Yeah.
just like, what's going on
No,
here? What are
for
you talking
sure,
about? I
dude.
gotta go. So it was probably for the
I
best,
won't lie.
so
So when I had my first kid, I was already out here in Texas working remote. I did have paternity leave and it was kind of like open-ended. Like says, hey man, take however long you need. But because I work remote and like I'm just in a home office, I found
yeah.
myself after maybe week 2 when we kind of found some normalcy in the routine, like honey, I think I'm just gonna sit down and you know, try and respond to some emails and show face a little bit. And so I just like kind of slowly they
Slowly,
weren't
yeah, dip
asking
your
of it for
toes.
me, but to your point,
Yeah.
WD, like we had it covered. I was kind of bored. The kid was like doing what it does. I would have the kid in my office with me and like be doing
Mhm.
my foot to make sure it was rocking. So I like slowly just went back into it without any pressure, which was so fire. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
what about you, MC? Did you get any of that pat leave?
Yeah. I had both my kids at my current company, and we get 2 weeks off, which is really nice. The first week,
Okay, so I don't feel as bad. 2 weeks. Yeah, that was about the time where I was like, I'm done.
yeah, and I
I could
think
probably go back.
a 6 month paternity leave, I would probably have a hard time coming back to the
Yeah,
office. I had
I
a
don't think I
lot
100%.
would
of
have
Yeah, I
come
mean,
back. Are you kidding?
100%.
but yeah, the first with Cash, because we both work from home, because we in our apartment, I feel like it was like, okay, I had my first week. We got somewhat rhythm. We had somewhat rhythm to our life. The second week I was on and off, where I was like working when Cash was asleep and, handling business, washing bottles, washing, pumps and everything. When I had downtime with Stella, I took the full 2 weeks. I was like, okay, I want to enjoy these 2 weeks with her, with Cash while he's home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a different dynamic going from 1 to 2. And I want to make sure he's not harming Stella. Not that he would, but more so just like he's a big kid. He's
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't
in
understand,
five
like,
T clothes and the kid's not even 4 yet. So like he doesn't know what to do with his body, and how could you? So I just wanted to be a little bit more alert. And honestly, a 2 week, I think it was just after a long winter of gray, and like mentally I needed 2 week reset.
Yeah.
yeah,
So
100%.
No, I dig that. Bro, if
yeah,
they
so
give it to you, take it all day. Like that's what
yeah,
are you kidding?
Yeah, I mean, my philosophy with that is You know what? Everyone's different. I don't want to speak for everyone, but I promise you, when it all comes said and done, and you're on your way out on your deathbed, I highly doubt you'll ever look back and be like, I really just wish I would have
Yeah, I
worked
should have worked.
just a little
Should
bit
have
more.
worked a
But
little bit harder.
yeah, but the 2 weeks or the memories, obviously, that you create with your children and things like that, you'll wish to God that you would have had even more of that. So
100.
that's like my philosophy. I think maybe when I was, when I was a little younger, I was like, dude, you just grind yourself into the freaking
Yeah.
ground, and then one day it finally clicked, and I was just like, yeah, like grind and do all that, but also, like, dude, at the end of it all, you're never gonna look back and be like, man, I wish I would have just like killed myself a little more for that, for that company. But like the time
True.
with your kids, especially when they've just arrived, and the support you can give to your wife is just huge.
There's nothing
Yeah.
like it, man. Dude,
Yes,
I
people
love
live
this,
to
man.
work, and you want to work to live,
Yeah.
right? To enjoy those moments. And I think like now I'm heading into that phase where I never took PTO, I never took vacation, and I was like, I need to be there to like book another meeting, help close another deal. And now I'm like, I could take a day off.
I'm gonna take that PTO, baby. Let's go.
We were just talking about the paternity leave.
Dude,
and all
send
this
her
stuff.
over. Tell Chloe to come and say what's up
missed
to
a
us.
good-
Let's get a wave.
Come and say hey. Come on. You already got it. You already caught it here now.
Yeah, you're called out.
Let's go. There she is. What's up?
Wait. Maybe we can get a little, dude. Maybe we can. Wait, hang on. So we ran through some fun. We ran through some fun stories. Remember when I was at Panda Express and you were?
Which kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we talked about the birth story and sleeping. You were like,
Yeah, it was Sophia. I was literally like in active labor, and Warren was in the bed watching the Stranger Things.
oh yeah,
Like he was doing. I
that
was
was
like,
our second.
here I
show.
was having contractions, and Warren is in the bed watching Stranger Things.
Well, I told them that you had, because you had like Emily.
Yeah, I mean, I
You were,
had a
like,
team, but it was just
very
funny
well.
because Warren is just sitting there watching Stranger
No, for sure. All right. So
you got your
look,
popcorn too, Warren?
this is super special. We got the Queen D in the house, Chloe. So Warren, he proclaimed to us that it was pretty helpful the first month, especially with your first, because there's colicky and like sleep hours were rubbish. But you know what? Now that we got the missus of the household, was our boy like pretty helpful, or did you kind of feel like he could have stepped
Definitely.
it up a
Warren-
little bit? What do you think?
No, I mean, especially with our first, we both didn't know what the heck we were doing. And
Yeah.
it was really
Tell
hard.
them the mellow mushroom story.
Yeah, I mean, we spent like I always make a joke that Frankie cried for 4 months and we cried with her. Like,
Yeah.
everything.
We were like, it was a combination
yeah.
of exhaustion and just
Yeah, we
like,
bought a new home together. I mean, we were not even a year married. Like, we were like, what are we doing? And it was a lot. And he was going through different jobs, and it was just like, what are we doing? But no, even with our subsequent children, like, we take my postpartum time very serious because with Frankie it was so bad and
Yeah.
I wasn't doing great. And so I think he knows how serious that is for me, and it makes a big difference having his help. But he's on night duty every night.
Is he?
Unless I'm maybe, but like, yes, even now, if the girls get up, do not wake me up. He has to do
But
it.
I
Dang.
stay up late.
And he does it like a champ. There's sometimes if like they get up more than like 3 times.
Yeah, I'll be mumbling.
He
You're
says
one of those.
things that I know they did not mean that, but that was not good.
They don't get up more than 3 times. Well, first off,
Sometimes.
our oldest two don't ever get up. Frankie, the oldest, might come in our room lately and sleep in our bed, which at first, that's another good topic. At first, I was like not feeling that, but then I heard somebody say, they were like, when she gets older, like you'll like beg and almost pray, like, hey, could you just like
I let
lay
mine
down?
sleep in the bed, bro. Come and cuddle, dude.
That's weird. Like,
Yeah, I
and
know.
so when I thought about that, I was like, this time's going to go by so fast. And one day she won't even be like, she's like, you're not even coming to my room. So I was just like, you know what? Just sleep with me all you want because I'm gonna soak all that in.
Yeah.
So open that our newest baby, Sloan, she might randomly wake up sometimes, but that's a quick diaper and a fresh little bottle.
Yeah, I
but
just don't get it.
it is still just kind of like, but it's my own fault. I'll go to bed sometimes.
Yes, that's
and
the
like,
problem. He goes to bed at 1 a.m. and the baby's up at 1:30. So I'm like,
Yeah.
well,
Like,
That's your
man, I
fault.
just hit my REM, man.
exactly.
And
That's why
also-
he gets mad.
How cool is it that your kid's safest place is your bed at the middle of the night? That's how I take it
We have
too.
to
It's-
remind ourselves that.
yeah, she just took a photo of us like this morning, like sleeping. But sometimes like my daughter's like ruthless, dude. I'm like throwing her
Dude,
leg.
they turn into like an octopus in the bed. Like, how do your
I don't like being touched at all, like when I'm sleeping. So I like barrier myself, but I'll look over and she is like in like underneath Warren's back. And
Yeah.
I'm like, how are
oh
but she likes that.
my gosh, I love that, dude.
How was your show? She was watching Dancing with the
was
Stars.
great.
Ooh, get it. How's my boy Erwin doing? I'm a big fan.
I think you would like it, honey. I think you would. He's
I would like
amazing.
it if they have us on.
I
How about
literally,
that?
Bro, I
I'm
would
watching
get
it.
down.
He's
Is
good.
he doing
That-
well though? He's the only one I think that I really know.
will for sure be like
Okay.
the final two. You will be.
Is he just so attractive? My gosh, he did some like underwear
You know,
campaign. Like,
funny story when
What are
he
we
like
talking about?
Robert
dude,
Irwin.
we're talking about
Yeah. Sorry.
bro.
sorry.
The, like
So you
Crocodile
were saying-
Junior, dog.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he
I love
When-
him. I follow him on Instagram.
yeah, he's amazing. But he did the underwear thing, and when he
Underwear thing.
yeah he
Bro,
did like
you gotta check it out, WD. You'll switch teams in a heartbeat. He's fire.
Like on my
Stop,
Instagram feed,
stop.
and Frankie was watching me, and I was on Instagram, and someone was like making a video about Robert Irwin and Frankie like grabbed my and he was like watching this mesmerized, and then I was like, oh well, let me show you something. Like he watches alligators and stuff, so I was like trying to, and she was watching. He's like, well, who is he? What does he do? I'm like, yeah, he hates.
Yeah, she does like animal because like I have this.
You got the shark, yeah.
All my daughters are like obsessed with shark shows. I mean, I get into Shark Week.
I love
That's
Shark Week, man.
Always like, let's watch some shark stuff where they see like alligators and they're like, oh, that's so cool. And I'm like, I mean, it's cool like watching from the TV, but don't ever think like in real life like this is so cool.
Yeah.
It's not
Oh,
cool
that's-
unless
this
you're like,
Australian Ridgeback right here.
I know, and that's what Frankie's looking at this guy who's like holding snakes and alligators.
yeah, I'm like,
and
no.
I was like, "No, actually."
My brother's into snakes, and I'm like, bro, that's weird.
No, yeah, I couldn't do it, man. I grew up in Los Angeles. We don't have any of that exotic stuff. We got squirrels, and even they freak me out. So, but look, man, look, we're at the 55 mark. Dude, I had so many more questions left. Thank you so much, Chloe. You're the real MVP, girl. Good to see you. Yeah, man, we really like dove into it. I had more questions. We should keep this kind of circus going. But with that being said, my man Matt Campbell, MC in the house, my guy CT Charles Thompson, you know the name, you know the face, and none other than my guy UD Warren Devarennes. I don't know if you guys knew how to pronounce his last name, but he took me to
No
school a couple weeks ago and I got it down pat. As always, I'm your host, Chris Walcher. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Dadgood Community Spotlight of just us. It's not a spotlight, and so it's the best spotlight. How about that? Just a reminder, we release new episodes every single Friday. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. And don't forget to check out your LinkedIn timeline for all the latest Dadgood updates. MCCTWD. I love you guys, man. What a fun time. You guys have a hell of a night, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Love you too, buddy.
All right. See you now.